Hello everybody and welcome to the British Pint. My name is Christoph and today we're doing a quick video tasting two really nice British ales. I have here the Golden Pride from Fuller's and to compare with it the Vintage Ale from 2019. Now the Golden Pride is really fresh and new. It's currently on offer in one of the German craft beer shops, and the Vintage Ale is something that I got from the very nice Swiss homebrewer Jens, whose beers I tasted before. He sent me this bottle that he found in a shop. It's getting quite rare to get the Vintage Ale of 2019, even though that was one of the years that they sold really like Europe-wide, so that it was quite easy to get for some time. I think I tried either that one or the 2021 fresh, and I remember at the time when I really wasn't used to Fuller's beers that it was incredibly sweet, far too sweet for me. So I took my time, and after I got this one I thought I have to do a proper tasting again. Now, the style of these two beers is supposed to be exactly the same. So the Vintage Ale is a special edition of the Golden Pride. The Golden Pride is supposed to be very similar to the Fuller's ESB, but on steroids, really to the max. And it is also supposed to be part of the Party Guile in some instances. Now, in the Party Guile, they only get a gravity of 1077 in the higher word, and you don't get 8.5 ABV, 8% ABV from a 1077 beer. So I rather think that they're actually taking the highest word, the very first word, away and make Golden Pride from that one, instead of taking one of the halves of the word where all the rest of the Party Guile is done with. And probably the same with the Vintage Ale. The Vintage Ale I know is Party Guide with London Pride and the like. And of course, in the London Pride, you would notice if there would be different hops used, because the Vintage Ale uses different hops, different malts every year, so that you have a proper vintage thing, something that's more special each year. So I think that it's not part of the Party Guile in that sense. It's just that they are taking the very first word, hopping it differently to the rest, maybe the same ratios, but stronger, stuff like that. And then the rest of the brew is used for a Party Guile in some sense, but it's different from the triple Party Guile that we know, the Party Guile that I recreated earlier. If you haven't seen that one, check it out. Okay, so Golden Pride. I'm expecting something that has similar hop profile, similar yeast, similar malt character as the ESB, but just much, much stronger. Let's see what we smell. Yeah, I poured these just a second ago, a minute. Just so that I could take the screenshot already for not the screenshot, the thumbnail. What is it, darling? Baby sitting behind the camera. So the smell is incredibly vinous, like liqueur and sherry, stuff like that. Really strong alcoholic smell. I took the picture first because I didn't want to refill them to take the picture afterwards, because then I would have to drink twice that much. And it's a really hot day, so I might get a bit tipsy during the recording of this video alone. I have to say I do not smell much hops. It's really a very malty one. I do notice the crystal malt, very strong raisin aroma. Anything else? It is a clear caramel as well. If you see my comparison of the crystal malts, the Crystal 150 really is very forward in pure caramel tones. Well, let's see what we taste. It's not too sweet, not as I remember it, so that's good. It is quite sweet though, but it's a honey-like character, so it's not sugary sweet. I do think that the Fuller's yeast is maltotriose weak, and that it does leave some maltotriose which is very sugary sweet, but not too much. Now, of course, because this is a first word beer, we have a very full body, like viscous, honey, syrupy consistency on the mouth, which is really interesting. I do get the Fuller's yeast character, which is not clean orange marmalade. It's more like half marmalade, half honey, from my experience, using the same Fuller's yeast propagated from a bottle. I think both of these are bottle conditioned. I can read it on the Vintage Ale bottle, but not here where they put a sticker, the importer put a sticker on it. But I think both of them are bottle conditioned. Though you wouldn't want to propagate the yeast from these two, because the strength is too high and the yeast will have suffered. But from other beers you can propagate the yeast, and it's very easy to get that flavor as long as you don't overpitch. Yeah. So if you take small sips, it's really a very nice like afternoon, evening beer, not in the summer like now, but maybe in the evening in front of the chimney fire, the fireplace. My daughter is really in a singing mood today, so I really hope that you can follow what I'm saying. So the Vintage Ale 2019 was done with New Zealand ingredients. So they have Waiiti as the hop. Well, actually it wasn't written on the bottle, it was written on the carton that you get this in because it's such a special thing. What did it say? Waiiti, yeah, that's the hops. And then New Zealand crystal malt. And the rest is British. Okay, let's see. Let's see if I taste the difference at all. I mean, it will be older. So it will be a bit more aged, but I'm not sure if I will notice a different hop character. Because the hops were already quite subtle with the first one, and also the aging takes away the hop flavor. Okay, so it's a bit different because you notice a lot more of that cherry character in here. Definitely aged aromas. Much more, yeah, like sherry, old wine, red wine, stuff like that. And less malt, honey character, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, this one tastes sweeter. So it doesn't taste as balanced as the fresh Golden Pride, which is a pity. I wonder if this one gets more interesting like 15 years later and when it really has acquired a flavor from the age that is stronger. But at the moment actually it does feel a bit thinner, it does feel a bit more one-dimensional. Let's see if we can notice some subtle hints here. So, yeah, taking a big sip. It's actually nice, yeah. So it gets this extremely vinous character, but it is actually quite complex because instead of all the crystal malt character and the honey character and all that, that's all pretty much gone. But you have a very complex, winey, like vinous, but also it does taste as if it would have been in oak barrels, even though I'm pretty sure it hasn't been. And it really just tastes much more like an actual wine, like a sweet wine, a dessert wine. So it is not bad, you just need to know what you're up against, basically, when you drink it. My flavor is, my preference is much more the Golden Pride, and much less the Vintage Ale, at least in the way that I've tasted now. I was really curious for this one because this is now 4 years old, which is not a bad age for a strong beer that has been aged a lot. But I do wonder what the flavor would be like after 15 years or something like that. Maybe I'll find out one day what beers like that taste like after a long time. Yeah, so I would conclude the video here now, and I think everything that I can say on the basis of these beers has been said. I'm really surprised in a positive way about the Golden Pride. Vintage Ale much more as I remember it, but actually not that bad. Quite a complex one that you just have to know what to expect, and then it's really nice. It reminds me very much of the Fruitcake Old Ale that I did in January 2022. So that is 1.5 years old now, and I recently tasted it again, the penultimate bottle, and that was very similar in this type of extremely fruity, vinous character, very much raisin. Though my Fruitcake Old Ale actually contains dried fruits, and this one doesn't, so that's actually quite remarkable that you get the same character just with malt and hops. Alright, so let's conclude the video and see you next time. Bye bye.